Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Alright, I think we're good. Yeah. So, hello, hello. Back at it again with jumping around from project to project, as one does. So let's see. Today we're going to be working on the stream overlay, as you might have gathered from the title. And also the fact that the stream overlay is not open right now. So that's neat. Let me see. So there's a few things that we need to change. One is I have accidentally opened this thing in mono, so we need to get rid of that directory. Oh, okay, it's already ignoring the mono directory. Nice. So, this is kind of what I'm working with, which is you have the little things, they bounce around, that's really cool and all that. However, there's not too much that I can do to like interact, right? So we can do a few things, so we can do jump, boing, bounce around the little person, but that's about it. So the only thing I can click and drag is just this box here. So that's not the most useful thing in the world. So we're gonna change that. We're gonna change that. So screens, screen plugins. Let me see. Well, one thing is incremental game needs to be subtly changed. So how did I do dragging before? Oh, I'm also using a different keyboard this time. I've decided I'm kind of feel like I want like a full, well, it's not a full size keyboard, but it's no longer an ortholinear. And also the switches are a lot louder since they are Cherry MX green switches. Alright, so incremental game, read data, write data. That's fine. That's how this works. That's how this works. I remember now. This is silly. This is silly. Anyways, we're not going to do anything with this. Well, we are. I think I'm probably going to disable this and handle this somewhere else. Probably in like the kind of GUI layer you can see here. So there's, or the control layer. Yeah. So what does the control layer do? I'm not really sure, but we'll figure it out. Probably like we'll have to toggle it on and off. Yeah. So let's see. Thank you for the follow, intrepid viewer. We'll refrain from calling you out for the time being. Oh, no. It's just a personal thing. So, like, whenever I follow streamers, I'm like, I really wish they don't call me out. I'm more of a lurker, so please don't mention me. So, unless you talk in chat, I will not mention your name. I will respect your privacy that you may or may not want to. Something that you may or may not appreciate, but I follow the golden rule. For better or worse. Minion fights. It's not really this. Chat minions. Internal name for this. So let's see. Chat minions. This one. Which one is it? Command. RNG range, apply impulse. Hey, so this is X, Y. I'm trying to remember what I was doing here. Apply impulse. It's a vector 2. Hey, that's the offset, and then this is... Oh, you know what? These need to be reversed. That's why this doesn't really work that well. Is I've been applying the impulse improperly. So if we connect it to a shed again, and I just apply an impulse like this, we'll bounce you. Oh, it didn't. It didn't work because we're not loaded in yet. Yeah, see, there we go. So now it no longer looks like the characters are slamming into the ground, or they're pogoing off the ground. And also, this works. Nice. Still need to disable this. Look at this. We can make this huge, but that's not what we want. But this is fixed. We're no longer slamming into the ground. So incremental game. We're going to get rid of this. So you can no longer move it around. At least it's no longer handled within the plugin itself. It's now handled somewhere else. It's probably going to be handled here in control layer. So whenever we add things, do I just add it straight to the child? Where do I add these? Screen scale layer? Oh, I do add it just like directly to the screen scale layer, huh? And there is a chroma key layer that doesn't do anything. Right, okay. Okay. So let's see. Let's see. Give me 1 sec. I'm checking something. Anyways. Control layer. I think a lot of things need to change here. What does control layer even do? It has a console log and then also just settings. So there's a reset button which does get children, calls reset on all of those. Okay. Well, that's neither here nor there. That sounds pretty complicated. Chat minions. Let's see. Minion fights. We'll get around to that. So each entity is just a minion, and there's plans for other things to be present. So we do minions can be selectable, or your minion can be selectable, right? Or it can be picked. Right, so this is, where is it? Input pickable. So let's make it pickable. So we go here, rigid body 2D. I believe it's on is it collision object? So pickable. Oh, it's not here. Okay, so it's probably no. Hey, where's pickable? Input pickable. Yes. And there's no description. That's good. Input pickable. I'm assuming there's nothing here. Apply input pickable. Physics body. Please, I just want to be able to pick it. Let me see. I think area has a better description of what pickable is. Hey. Or is it just mouse entered? What is this? Input pickable. What's the thing? Input pickable. Yes, here we go. If true, the thing is pickable. Input events. Ah, okay. So we can do input events. So we can ignore pretty much all of these except for events. Accepts unhandled input events, requires input pickable to be true. Shape index is the child index of the clicked shape 2D. We don't need that. Connect to the input event signal to easily pick up these events. Input events. Okay. So there's a signal. Cool. Somewhere. Input events. Wait. How does this work though? Oh, it only reports input events when the mouse cursor is inside of it. Nice. So let's do, I think it's just called minion. Chat minions. And let's do this. Chat bubble resize. We don't need that. Let's do func on input event. And then there's a few things that it reports. So we have the viewport, shape index. Hello? Hello? We have all of these. Oh, geez. What happened there? Uh-oh. Alright, let's grab some of these so it doesn't accidentally click me. Alright, so this is viewport. We're not going to use this, and we're not going to use this. So the only thing we need to use is the event. So let's check for, do I have input left click and input right click mapped? I do. Left click, right click. So if event is action pressed, let me see. Is it left click? Yeah. Event is action pressed. Left click, LF event is action released. Left click. Alright. Hello? Alright, so now we need to track the this flag, right? So it's going to be, we're toggling on whether or not we should be follow the mouse, whether or not the minion should be following the mouse or not. So let's just do, this is input related stuff. Input. So var should track mouse. We'll initialize it as false. Now here we'll do should track mouse is equal to true, and this one should track it. Should track mouse is equal to false. Wow. How logical. So physics process. This is the lifetime. Blah blah blah. This is your alpha. Lifetime, initial lifetime. Okay, so your lifetime. When do I define your lifetime? Did I ever define the lifetime? Lifetime is equal to your initial lifetime, and then this value times 255. Does that make sense? I think it does make sense. I could cut this in half so it's more obvious, but your chat avatar does persist for like about an hour, I think. Right? because each delta is 1 second, more or less, right? Actually, how many seconds are in an hour? How many seconds are in an hour? Actually, this is way too many. This is many hours. Also, funny English quirk, right? So you say it's not a hour, it's an hour. Because whether or not you use a or an does not depend on how the word is spelled, but how it's pronounced. Right, so the H is silent in hour, unless you say hour, then it's an hour. But I think you have bigger problems pronouncing it Howard. Alright, so now we need to do... Let's do... Huh. So each minion... Is each minion... When... How is its, or where do I... Where is their physics controlled? Oh, it's controlled via timer. Ah, right? Is that true? Move timer. Yes, it is true. Move timer, timeout, generate new action. Yes. Okay. And so we can do something like this, where we just kind of manipulate their the kind of mode that they're on. Right, so when we click here, should track mouse is equal to true, and then we'll also do mode is equal to rigid body 2D dot A. Mode is equal to rigid body 2D mode. Let's see. Static. And then once you release, we just reset you back to mode character. Right? So because we don't want the impulses to be affecting you while you're, you know, kind of clicking and dragging it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Huh. And then here, we'll just kind of do a check here. So if, what is it? Should track mouse. Then, global position is equal to get global mouse position. There we go. So let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. Hopefully this will work. So there we go. It's moving around. Oh. Can't quite grab it. Wonder, is it something else is preventing me from clicking on this? So it's probably the runner, right? Yeah. Oh, it's the viewport. Ah, object picking. This happens a lot. No. Please, sir, I would like to click on you. Alright, so let's have a print statement as well. Or actually, do I have in... Is it App Manager? App Manager. Oh, it's still console log in this one. I've updated my App Managers to all use log message instead of console log, but... This program is kind of old, so it's still using the kind of older versions and older event types as well. So console log. Clicked, and then similarly, console log. Unclicked. Who would have guessed? So, clicked, nope. Nothing. Alright, so something else is preventing me from clicking on this. Let's see, let's just do this. Just in case. This has a tendency to happen. Is that there are things that prevent me from clicking on stuff. So that should be pass, but that's only a very tiny part of the screen, so it doesn't matter. Still can't click on it. Is it you? No, you're just the node. You don't matter. Big sorry. Yeah. So mouse filter pass. Oh, is it you? H filter or H scroll text? No, you should be ignoring. That's fine. You are. Yeah. I guess you're passing. You're all pass. Yeah. I feel like they all should be pass, actually. Yeah, you should pass. You should pass. So we don't stop your input. I suppose somewhat simpler it would be instead of relying on input events from this, we could do, oh, you know what? Is it this? No, handle input locally, no. GUI, disable, oh, disable input. Alright, so the idea was to instead just check to see if the mouse is within the collision, right? And then we can just toggle it manually. But this is a slightly better solution. It's still not working though. As to be expected. Oh, you know what? Is it the GUI? Not this GUI, but is it the control layer? Yeah. So these should all be pass as well. Please stop stealing my inputs. Not appreciated. Pass. Scroll container. Pass. Yeah, whenever I do this, I feel like I'm doing it wrong because I always have to change all these. I feel like I am. It's hard to say though. So, mouse, pass. Mouse. Pass. And you should also be pass. Everyone's passing. Right? So all I want to do is click on you, but there's something else that's eating my inputs. I don't know what. I wish there was a way to just like a debug thing in the engine that allows you to, you know, like, hey, this is what you're clicking on right now. There's no option for that. I suppose understandably, because it's kind of a really niche thing to want to have. So is it? Oh, is it you? Is it the chroma key layer that's also eating my inputs? I don't use the chroma key layer very often, which this might be it. It's not even turned on. No, it's not you. But we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, somewhat easier would just to be to do this manually. Or you know what? It's not hooked up. It's not hooked up. Okay. Good job. Good job. Connect. What is it called? Is it input, events, self, and what did I call it? I called it on input event. Oh, great. Easy. All right, this should work. Probably. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. So these are pickable. these are pickable. And they do have at least one collision layer set. There's none of you, so object picking is also enabled. It is receiving input events. This is passing. We're passing, or it's just being stopped somewhere. I don't know where though. So let's just go full manual override. We'll do on mouse entered. We'll hook up on mouse entered, on mouse exited, right? So we'll do func on mouse entered. Func on mouse exited. Let's see. Are these what the signals are called? Mouse entered, mouse exited. Body shape entered, sleeping state. I had it open somewhere. Is it this one? Not this one. It's collision objects. So mouse entered, mouse exited. Requires input pickable to be true. Yeah, I don't really know why that's not working, but I'm pretty sure this one usually works. Or this is what I've done in the past. On mouse entered. And then connect mouse exited. And this is on mouse exited. Alright. So hooked up. So this also requires a slightly different approach to how you do things. So now we have to do unhandled input. Or we could just make it regular input, it doesn't really matter. If we make it regular input, it should fire before the GUI eats it, but I'm trying to avoid doing that for now. Yeah, the stuff is the same here. So if event blah. So bar is mouse captured, I guess, or has mouse. Let's see, which is my cat's favorite variable. Has mouse is equal to true, and then we'll just unset it in the exit signal. Phenomenal. So, okay, hold on. I'm not doing anything with this yet, and also it's being eaten by somewhere. I don't know where. So we can just make it like regular input, right? And then we do if has mouse. We'll do all of this. Please work. No, it's being eaten somewhere, dude. So we can turn on debug shapes just to make sure I'm actually looking at it, or I'm actually clicking on the correct thing. So there's a square, right? And it also reports collisions. So there you go. So it's colliding multiple times with the floor. And the floor is actually a little bit higher than you would expect, just to give your name room to be shown. Huh. So input event, and then this is just like the built-in input function. Let's see. It's just not being handled properly. Is this the correct runner, by the way? Am I in the wrong thing? This is chat minions. Yeah, this is the correct thing. Let's see. Chat minions. Huh. That's not it. This This is the correct thing. Pickable, yes. These have no impact, right? Because they just ignore your mouse. Incremental game. Let's ignore. Let's just go through everything one by one and we'll just ignore inputs. Because it's a bit easier to think about that way. So this is ignore. So everything ignores. We don't want to pass any input. I feel like scroll container you should not be ignoring, but that's fine. Well, scroll container actually generates some scroll bars for you, so, and those scroll bars you would have to ignore via code, but that doesn't matter. Alright, so this one, ignore, and then this one is also ignore. Incremental game, yeah, let's try it. So, I'm losing input, I don't know why. Yeah, there we go. Alright, something was eating my input, I don't know, but it seems to work now. So we can just do this. Not this one. Here. So we do this. Look at that, so now we can... Oh. It never gets unset. It's weird, actually. That is kind of weird. Is that it? You can't. It's a bit. I don't know. Like it doesn't instantly update to your cursor. I wonder if I should do it here. On input event. Yeah, it might be better to do this, to put this in like a different process function, so it pretty much will update as fast as possible, because we're not doing anything with physics, right? So we'll do process. This is some sort of float. Yeah, so we'll get rid of this, or we won't get rid of this, but we're going to keep the same. We're going to move the logic into our process function here. There's no delta, so let's just underscore that. We'll remove this connection. We're going to keep this kind of old school, or I guess more manual input detection here. So if has mouse, and then if input singleton is action pressed, left click. Sorry, I'm typing a bit slower than usual because I'm using a different keyboard. I'm not used to typing on a normal layout keyboard. As stated before, if input is action pressed. And also this keyboard has a ThinkPad style little nub in the middle of it, which makes it kind of awkward for me to hit some of the keys I usually hit, because I mostly type with my left hand. And so I kind of depend on just being able to kind of glide over keys, but having the little nub in the middle is forcing me to type properly, which I'm not used to. Which is, I guess, kind of a strange thing to be good at, is typing majority with one hand. And not even like my dominant hand. I mostly type with my left hand. I'm right-handed. Alright, so we don't need this one anymore, right? So we're just going to be... Let me see. Should track mouse. Oh, and this should be if is action released. If has mouse. Oh, and then we can, yeah, okay. So let's do this. Has mouse, and then also we just kind of reset everything. So should track mouse is false, and then we don't need to do this anymore. So should track mouse is true, and then the mode is static. Right? And then we don't need to... Well... No, we still need to have this part, right? If input is action released. And then if should track mouse, then global position is equal to get global mouse position, like that. So we'll comment this out. We still want this. I think if your mouse exits, well, no, that's, yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Wait. If has mouse, if input is action. Wait, is action pressed? What if we just do is action? Well, is action pressed? There's a good way of doing this. I'm just trying to think of it. We'll figure it out eventually. So if your input is this, otherwise we'll just reset everything to... Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's a bit more wasteful, but who cares? Yeah. Oh. Oh. What the heck? What? What? Is it being set twice? That's neat. I don't really know what's going on here, though. If has mouse. On mouse exited. Oh, I never set it to false. Phenomenal. So this should work, right? Boom. Yeah. So I wonder if it's possible for me to like do like physics, so I can like kind of throw people around, right? That'd be kind of cool. Let me see. Let me see. I wonder if it's better to handle everything in the input event, though. I wonder if it's better to do that. Right? Because we do this. If we handle everything in this event, we don't use these. So we, I guess, reconnect. Connect input event. Self, and then on. No, I can't type. On input event. Right. Don't use these anymore. Take out this. So now it's just, we only have should track mouse. Right. Yeah, a cell actually works mostly as expected. Yeah. I guess you can kind of get stuck, but that's fine. You know what? We don't need to do this here. We can do this here. We'll just pull for input. If input is action released. Can't type. Oh my god. Please, I desire autocompletes. So we'll just pull for this input here. And we'll do this. Yeah. So we remove this. So we only listen for this input, because that's the only one that really matters. We don't need to listen for released. So then, now flinging should work as expected, more or less. If input, hello, is action released, non-existent function. What? If input is what is it called? Am I crazy? If input, what is, huh? What? Please, sir, I just want autocomplete. Is action just action just released? Okay. Is it just released? Is action just released? Interesting. I didn't realize that was the difference. Only on input events do you have is action released. The input singleton only has is action just released. Good to know. Good to know. So this will work. Boom. So we turn you into a. Oh, you know what? What happens if I just do this, right? If we disable this stuff, do I just get throwing people for free? No, I don't get you throwing for free. That's unfortunate. So I'll need to implement that myself, right? So we can do, let's see. Has mouse, should track mouse. Has mouse is no longer used, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what was eating my inputs, but that's probably fine. We won't worry about it too much. So has mouse is no longer used, right? Because mouse entered is no longer used, yeah. We're handling everything via the on input events callback. No, we also have process and physics process running in tandem, which is a bit strange. But it is something that you would do in like regular development as well. So I think that's fair. Let's see, should track mouse. And then we can do last position. And so we can compare it against your global position. And then we'll scale it by some amount. So this is like last global position. Some sorts of vector 2. Actually, I don't know if we should do that. Let's do an onReady var. And then this will just be equal to global position. Right? And then here, it should track mouse. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, hello, Montiac. Yeah, I just found a Firefox bug that I use as a feature. I guess I'll just call Firefox a standard web browser from now on. Which Firefox bug do you use? Or are you talking about? I saw a news article about how they're testing user agents with 3 digits in them. So usually you would have the browser version, so it's Firefox, 87, right? And I was reading an article. It's like when they were testing out 3 digits version numbers in the user agents, there was one bug in Slack that prevented some functionality from working because it's did a string comparison on the version number instead of like a number comparison. Is that kind of what you're talking about with a Firefox bug? It's not really a bug per se. It's a feature test. It's not even on the 90s, right? Firefox is still in 87, I want to say. Or maybe they are in the 90s, I have no idea. You can import CSS, JS files that don't have file extensions, so theoretically the browser has no idea what's going on. Hey? What do you mean? So theoretically the browser doesn't it? You can. Isn't it you have to define which type of file you're importing inside of the tag instead, right? So you can call the file whatever you want, but it's like whatever the tag says. So like the tag is like, I forget what the tag is, but without just looking at it, right? It's like script source, whatever, and then it's like type is equal to text JavaScript, something like that. So it doesn't even matter what the script is, as long as the type is correct. And then that's how the browser will interpret it. So you can call it whatever you want, right? Isn't that how that works? So that's expected behavior. Even if you specify the correct type, the link as itself wouldn't work without the file extension. Really? Is that... I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me. I thought it was like you can call it whatever you want. Like it's just that your code editor won't be able to, I guess, open it correctly, but it doesn't really matter. I agree with you, that's how it works. Yeah, I don't, it doesn't sound like a bug, but maybe I'm not understanding it correctly. Or maybe I've just understood the bug. I've just internalized the bug as like it's not a bug, it's a feature at this point. I don't know, because isn't that how Chrome works as well? You know, it's just like user agents. The user agents are all just called Mozilla, even though the only, like, Firefox is Mozilla. So we have our last position. I just debated 2 hours on this with another streams viewer that is a web teacher. He told me it shouldn't work and it doesn't follow the web standards. I don't think I don't know. What are their qualifications as a web teacher, by the way? Because I can be a web teacher. I've done a lot of, what is it? SPA, single page apps debugging. I'm more or less qualified to be a teacher, I would think. I too have read the documentation, and I'm able to explain things to at varying levels of understandability. So what I'm kind of confused about here is last global position, right? If should track mouse. I don't think we want to update this as fast as possible, or maybe we do. Or you know what? We can just do everything in physics process. Let's just do everything in physics process really quick. Because I'm getting confused moving between the two things. So let's comment this out. Right, since we're manipulating position, we should do it in the physics process. Doesn't really make a huge amount of difference though, since Can I show you the code very quickly? I'm sure you will agree with me on the fact that what I want to do is perfectly clear. Yeah, if you have like a paste bin or something, I can take a look. Although I'm pretty sure like everything will just work how I just explained, right? Like if we just inspect, we look at the source here, and we can take a look at whatever the imports are. Let me see. I never really remember how these work. Yeah, so scripts, blah blah blah. And then it should have a type on it, doesn't it? Yeah, type application JavaScript, so you can call it whatever you want. Ooh. Look at that. Also, I don't really have an auto mod, so you don't abuse posting links, but I'll let you do it. It works on Firefox, but not in Chrome, Edge, etc. Link. Source jQuery. Is this what your jQuery thing is called? Yeah, I don't know. That might not be right. I feel like this one would work though. I don't know. Like if you have some code.js, I'm gonna look at the. Is this like your jQuery file? Oh, it is. You just have a bunch of jQuery in here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this should work. And then I'm assuming Tailwind is is actually your CSS. This is an executable, by the way. I feel like your jQuery and this should work. You don't need to have a type if it can like reasonably figure out via the extension. I'm not really sure what's going on with Tailwind. Yeah, but I feel like this works in Chrome too, but maybe I'm crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this line here, jQuery 360 type text JavaScript, should work in Chrome, but I'm not gonna try it out. Web dev is stinky. Nah, I'm more of a back-end kind of guy. If you need me to like throw together a really quick UI, I can do it. And it's gonna be pretty much just single column, everything top to bottom. Tailwind is just 20k lines of CSS for macros, CSS classes. Okay. Interesting. Last global position is equal to global position. Yeah, so are you saying your code only works in Firefox? It could be a Firefox bug, I guess. I don't know. I've always thought that as long as you specify the type, you don't really need to have the file extension, but I don't know. Maybe Chrome is a bit more strict with it. Or you know what? It's possible that you're using like a stricter version of JavaScript as well that only Chrome respects. Since I do know that there is like a setting that you can add to the top of your JavaScript file that it's basically like use strict in like Perl or something. So it disallows you from doing certain things in your JavaScript code. And so probably one of the things is loading in files that don't have JS attached to it. Because that does seem like a security problem, I guess. My theory is that Firefox is smarter and can do stuff while others follow very strict standards. Possibly, yeah. I have no idea. But that's the joy of web development, right? Is all the browsers kind of work the same, but they all have very tiny differences that make it really hard to use. Yeah, should track mouse. Let's see. Bar should throw. Alright, so we'll do this. Should track mouse should throw is equal to true. Wait, no. Should throw is equal to false here. Right? And then once you release, it should be should throw is equal to true. Right? If should track mouse, blah blah blah. L if should throw. Yeah, but they would be able to do it as well. Yeah, I think it must be like a browser thing, right? Like there's some sort of setting so you can run it in secure mode or something, right? Because I think it's useful to keep in mind that pretty much all browsers are based off of Chromium, the open source project. I guess there's three main branches of browsers, right? So there's Firefox, there's Safari, and then now there's just Chrome. So they all use different rendering engines. Actually, is Conqueror still around? Conqueror is also another branch, but that's like Linux specific. And so Safari is based off of Conqueror, but they, made a lot of changes and called it WebKit, and that's their rendering engine. Conqueror uses KHTML. Firefox uses a thing, don't remember. And then I think Chrome uses WebKit, but like a very different one. Else if should throw, then we need to calculate a few things. If should throw, then should throw equals false. Actually, we don't need to do this here. We'll be setting it twice. So we always want to do this. If should throw, then should throw is equal to false. And then if we're tracking the mouse, we never want the throw. There we go. So we can get the difference between the current global position is equal to global position dot x. No, global position distance to a last global position. No, that's not what we want at all. We just want the difference. What am I doing? So this is, it's just this, right? Last global position, right? And then that's how we'll just send you. So we'll do what is it called? Generate new action, apply central impulse. Apply central impulse. So let's see, it's actually just this, right? And that's your impulse. Let's give it a try. Yeah. So this is what I'm working on, by the way, it's just this. Oh, it kind of works. Yeah, look at that. Neat. That's actually kind of cool. That's actually kind of cool. I'm gonna compliment myself a little bit more. So let's have a throw constant. Let's see, const or throw speed. Const throw speed. Call it a float. let's call it 10. So we'll just multiply whatever you have by 10, right? So this is your throw speed. Cool, cool, cool. So we do this, we can do wah, 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 no? Wah. 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 Look at that. Wah. That's actually pretty satisfying. I like that. So, blah. Going straight up is a bit hard though, but going left to right, because I have a lot of wind up. Ooh, baby. Don't know what happened there. That's cool. I like that. Just throw people like that. Try to catch them. Oh, geez. What happened there? I think there's something wrong with the generate new action stuff. So, apply central impulse. I feel like... No, this is fine. What's the jump? That shouldn't matter, actually. Central impulse. Huh. Yeah, because they're not jumping. I don't know why. It kind of worked like that. Right, because central impulse, this is just the X component. So it's either you'll go right, you'll go left, or you'll do nothing based on whatever the timer is. Yeah. Jumping is controlled here. Right, so command, and it's just jump. So this is the central, or apply impulse at a random point, but that's just for jumping. I don't know. Weird. Also, are we leaking? No. Let's see, loaded resources image file does not work on export. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna ignore that warning because I know it works on export. Look at that. My favorite part is to just throw things around. Although you can kind of see here, like, this is why it's so difficult to, you know, do swipe controls. It's because you have to always kind of pull your last position. I wonder if it'd be better to pull, like, the position before last. And so we, instead of just doing the position between 2 frames, I should do the position between, like, every, like, 4 frames. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So var last position, last global position counter, which is some sort of int. We'll set it equal to 0. And you know what? Let's just put the... I like having all my constants at the top. That might be alone in that. Some people like to group all their variables together instead, as opposed to constants, then variables, but, you know. Count. Let's see. Frame set. I don't know. Let's do it every 3 frames though. And then here we can do, let's see, if last global position counter is equal to last position frame set, Then do this, and then last global position counter is equal to 0. Else. Actually, and then we don't even need the else, right? We can just do last global position plus equals 1. So we're just counting, right? So if it's greater than or equal to, hey, what is this? Last global position counter. Sorry. Yeah, so we only set every 3 frames. Otherwise, don't do anything. This might be every 2 frames, but I don't know. So yeah, now it's oh geez. What happened? Your speed is too fast. Throw speed. Let's just double it for now, since I'm able to accelerate with even more velocity than usual. Wah. Oh geez. I don't know, I feel like 5 might be good. So it's still possible to yeet. But also you won't reach, you know, lift-off speed. Wah. Wah. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it is possible for you to... Oh, check it out, that works. Also, we did run into some errors, that's good. Node, set name. Condition name is equal to nothing is true. What happened? Oh, it's a username. Huh? What happened here? So on reset, what happens? I think I've made a huge mistake somewhere. So in the runner, chat minions, username, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I forgot to set this. Chat minions, instance, we need to do this. Okay, so then that's how this will work. Look at that. So in case we lose anybody, we can just press reset. Or just keep rolling. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. And also, reason why we went with this kind of input system, right? So we're using just GUI inputs. The reason why we're doing that is so that we can also just click. So whenever you click on one of your little avatars, right? You can click, and then some sort of UI will pop up somewhere, maybe, which will allow me to, you know, like change your avatar to something else, which I think would be kind of cool. So let's see. Where should I do this? So incremental game, no. This is the runner for chat minions, right? Yeah. And so that exists inside of the viewport. Okay. So inside of chat minions, we can have this. Let's add a child node on a separate canvas layer, I think. Yeah. So let's have just an inner canvas, no, not a canvas modulate, a canvas layer. So canvas layer, put it at the very top here. So walls, we don't need all these to be open, that's fine. Canvas layer, so this is, we'll just call this the GUI. Let's see, let's add a panel container to this. So it's going to be anchored, let's see. It's on a separate canvas layer, so whatever is being displayed right now isn't indicative of how it's actually going to be displayed. And you know what? I might as well save branch as scene. So we'll call it GUI, screens, screen plugins, chat minions, and then this is just the GUI. Right, so save this. Look at that. Now we don't even need to worry about how it's being presented. So I'm thinking probably display it in or on the right? So let's see, probably 0.25. Take out the margins. So left, we'll call it probably 0.7 and make it a bit longer than it is tall. So we can make this 0.6. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in it, but we'll figure it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, as they say. 10, 10, negative 10, negative 10, right? Then we'll add just a custom style to it, since it's more or less self-sufficient. Make this entirely black. Give it a, I don't know, 169 is good. Just for readability. Let's see, corner radius. I like giving these corners, by the way. It makes it look a bit nicer with the rounded corners. Content margin, also 10, 10, 10, 10. That's the reason why panel containers are superior to margin containers. Oh, we're freezing. Are we crashing? Hello? Oh, that's good. What happened? Good thing I saved. Alright, I am using a beta build, which does mean that sometimes we will have crashes. Because this is bleeding edge. Not even the cutting edge. We're beyond the cutting edge. So edgy. So this is the GUI. I changed everything properly, right? 10, 10, 10, 10? Okay, cool. So this needs to have a script. We'll call it, yeah, GUI sounds good. So this is our GUI. Let me see. What do we want inside of the GUI? We'll want several controls. Oh, you know what? It might be nice to have like your chat log just available. So I can scroll through and be like, oh, this guy, they need to be in timeout. I know what you've been saying. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So let's make it just a big VBox container, right? So it's a big VBox container. No scroll container just yet, but then we'll have your chat log and then also some buttons to just kind of manipulate your character. Okay, yeah, I like that idea. So we'll have top and bottom. Top container will be your chat log. So what do we want to contain it inside of? Probably a scroll container. Probably a scroll container along with a VBox container. Expand. Easy. That's kind of the default. my default that I use just fill, expand. Everything is just fill, expand. If you do that, life's easy. I guess we should also just have another scroll container, I suppose. Second scroll container. This is scroll container 2 with a second VBox inside of it. So this is chat container, and then this is chat. This is your chat history. This is your chat history container. This one will be your controls container, and then just controls, right? So boom, boom. So now they take up more or less equal space, right? Yeah. And so here we'll do several things. I wonder why it crashed. I don't know. It's so weird. Yeah. Let's do unready var. already var. This is our GUI, some sort of canvas layer is equal to GUI. Wow. How'd you think of that name? That's our GUI. Boom, app manager. We don't really need anything else right now. Minion is good, I guess. Runner is also pretty good. Whoa. Click, click, click. Are you using Monokai's skin because you're a secret Java Android developer? Somewhat. I just like the Monokai one. I actually use Monokai for Notepad++, or I used to use Monokai for Notepad++. I think that was the first one I settled on. And I think on my work laptop, I also use Monokai for my Vim configuration. So it's just like the most common one to have, right? Or it's one of the most common themes out there. So you don't need to build your own theme. Monokai is always there. Along with Obsidian is also pretty prevalent, along with Solarized Light and Solarized Dark, but I hate Solarized. It's so hard to see. I think if Solarized Dark didn't use like gray text and instead just stayed with white, I like it a lot more. It looks like Sublime Text / Android Studio. Does it? I don't know. Monokai is just a very common theme to have, right? Like I think, actually, is this the built-in Monokai or is this one of the extensions this is just built-in Monokai. Yeah, you can change the theme if you want, but I find brown is just easy to look at. Molokai? What is Molokai? Also, hello, knock. Look at what I'm making. I'm doing this chat stuff, so this is not supposed to be showing right now. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. What's going on here? That's a bug. What the heck? Check, you can throw. There appears to be a bug where if you just randomly click. Oh, goodbye. Let's reset. Maokai. Maokai is the guy from Borderlands, right? Or no, that's Mordecai. Who's Maokai? Oh, Maokai is the League of Legends dude, right? He's the rock man. Look at this. Wow. We can throw you. Oh, that is weird. If I just single click, it sends you. Yeah, League champ. Yeah, Maokai. He's Rockman, right? I haven't played League in forever, dude. I think the last time I played League was during season 8. No, Tree Man. Oh, that's Malphite. Maokai? Maokai, he's the tree man that he throws saplings, right? And then he also teleports. Malphite was my main back in the day. I played a lot of Thresh. I played Thresh. Basically just a lot of supports. Thresh, I like to play Ezreal. I like to play mid Ezreal. That was fun. Ezreal's fun. I'm trying to think. Who else did I like to play? Pressing R is my thing. Yeah, dude, just flash over the wall, press R. And then just... That's pretty much your entire contribution, unless you have like an Iceborne Gauntlet or something, so you can slow them. It's my role in the team in every game. Nice. Yeah. I like playing junglers as well, because it's one of the things, it's one of the roles in League that I feel like has the least dependencies. I guess. You're not dependent on anybody, but people are dependent on you, which I don't know, might be bad. Oh, it's this one. It's this part here. I need to set this variable here. So should throw is set to true whenever you are clicking on one of the little avatars, right? We don't want to set it here, but then once you release it, right, we have these two if statements here. So if this is false, then we fall through. Here we go. That logic makes more sense. Yeah, but I'm not familiar with Tree Man. Haven't really played with Tree Man too often. Maokai. Let's see. Who was the latest champ? I don't know. I can't remember what the last champ was that was released. I do remember I spent like way too much money on that game though. Just buying skins. Yeah, I think the highest I ever got, because I was on like really bad internet, that's my excuse, but also I would like disconnect like once a game. Got to like silver 1, and then just could not win enough games to get into gold. Mostly because I just kept disconnecting. I'm not bad. But also it's because like I usually play roles that are not carries. I don't usually play mid. I don't usually play AD carry. Usually played top, supports, or jungle. So it's a pain. You know, my favorite AD carry was, is it Kog'Maw? Like the weird lizard man who like shoots his stomach acid at you. Yeah, Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw? Is that his name? Is that still his name? And he shoots the artillery, like, yada yada. I think that's him. So this is the GUI. And then, let's see. We should have a few functions, which is func, toggle GUI. Toggle GUI doesn't return anything, but then we'll just do Timothy. Hello. Philippe, how are you? I win only sometimes. Actually, that doesn't fit. My name is not Sometimes You Win. I do use Sometimes You Win on some games. So this is the panel container. I win. How are you? I'm doing actually not so great. I was woke up like extraordinarily hungover today, so I was like, And actually, before this was like, I'm still feeling a little out of it. But soldiered through it, drank an energy drink, feeling a little bit better. But you know, those are the consequences of drinking. Me too. I don't drink. Oof. Like, wake up like crap. I feel you, man. I feel you. No, I really should drink less, but it's just a bad habit from my consulting days, where it's you just drink every day. Cause you know, when you're just out of school and you got you're on the expense budget, it's not per diem, it's expenses. So per diem, if you don't use it, you get to keep it. But if you're on an expense travel budget, if you don't use it, then you lose it. And so what most people do is like you buy like a like a $10, $15 meal, and then blow the rest of your $50 budget on alcohol. I'm trying to make animations in Blender. I'm gonna animate hardcore dance moves. Gross. Hardcore. Sounds lewd, but that might be a personal problem. Yeah, I've done a few Blender animations, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't really get how to use NLA, but apparently that's the hottest thing now. So you want to do NLA? I don't know how to do it though. Let's see. Can I intercept? Yeah, I can intercept the GUI input. So here's what I'm gonna do. Is here we can do hardcore, the musical genre, like that genre of people hitting invisible ninjas. Hardcore? Is that hardcore? I'm not familiar. Is that sounds like it's electronic music? Is that? Oh, is hardcore the one where it's like just boom, 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 boom. It's like really, it's like they set like the BPM to 160 and they have a bass hit on every beat. So it's just really fast. It's like rave, but even faster. Oh no. Started today, hope they'll make it. Hardcore is a faster variation of punk rock. Oh, okay, interesting. What was I thinking of? Was I thinking of like Eurobeat? Anyways, event set as handled. No. Get tree. Set input as handled. I think that's what I want to do. Set input as handled. Where is it? Set input as handled. Yes. And then here, not main screen, chat minions, we'll do, The only reason for me to do 3D is because I want to have poses for 2D and I suck at redrawing the same character in multiple poses. The struggle of drawing. I am somewhat bad at drawing. Well, we'll say that I'm bad at drawing. I know how to draw, I just don't have the patience for it. And I'm also like not good at it. Like proportions I get, poses I get. Lighting I don't really get, but I understand it. But 3D is easy, right? More or less, anyways. I do need to find a better workflow for 3D modeling. Because I think when I do 3D modeling, I kind of depend too much on just manually manipulating like individual vertices. So that takes too long. I can only do some doodles, but I'm gonna draw grime art stuff. Grime? Like Elon Musk's wife? Or the wife of Elon Musk, I should say. On 3D. I got the model from Mixamo, and I'm just going to animate. What? I'm just going to animate to be a reference. Okay. The sentence kind of confused me, but I get you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Anyways, unhandled inputs. So we'll handle it here. So if GUI, well, I suppose we should do something like this, right? So just expose this one is GUI visible, which is some sort of bool. We'll call it false for now, and then we'll toggle it, and then is GUI visible is equal to GUI dot visible, whatever this value is. A bit psychedelic. I'm overspeaking. What are you up to today? Is 3.4 out? No, this is. I've been generating custom builds for Godot for a while. So yeah, this is the build from a few hours ago. Let me check. This is the potato stream. Let's see. When was this? This was from 4:30 today. 4:30 p.m. So pretty recent, pretty recent. I also generated builds for C#, so that's cool. Finally got mono working on my machine. Yeah, but 3.4 is not out. I would expect that it's probably gonna come out fairly soon. So that'll be cool. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that they are waiting on is they've implemented portal support. And by portal, I mean it's occlusion culling. So 3D will be a lot more performant in Godot after you guess, implement that. Really cool. Yeah. Occlusion culling, but it's not like occlusion culling how most people think about it. It's like a, I guess, a workaround. And I was reading that with using portals and whatever the other thing is called, right? You have to stick to a kind of specific design philosophy if you want to use occlusion culling. Yeah, but I don't know too much about that. So if event is action pressed left click, well, if was it GUI is GUI visible and event is action pressed blah blah blah, then we'll do GUI toggle GUI, right? That's what I called it, toggle GUI. Yeah, so let me see, GUI, this is your script. Panel container should start off, and then once you click on a chat thingy, then we'll turn on the GUI, I guess. Or I guess, yeah, no, I think just whenever you click on a chat minion, we'll turn on the GUI. I think it's just easier that way. Also, look at this. This is what I'm working on, is the little stream avatars-esque thing. So we can throw people around now. And I'm working on, you know, building in controls to it. So when you click on somebody, then the little GUI that I was building will pop up, and then I'll be able to see, one, your chat history, which may or may not be good. And then also some options to like regenerate your sprites. Because that was a request. It makes sense to me, yeah. Look at that, you can throw, and it'll just kind of very slowly bounce around, and the gravity isn't very strong here, so. Look at that. So chat minions, so each minion, I'm calling them minions, the minions property has completely ruined the word minion. We'll call it minion selected. And then we'll pass along just a reference to the minion, right? So whenever we spawn in a new minion, we'll do, let me see. I guess we'll have to connect it to one of these. So we'll have a new connection called on minion selected. Right. And then it will take in one of these as input. So we'll just call it minion. It's some sort of rigid body 2D. We don't do anything with it just yet, but whenever we create a new minion, I do need to wrap these up in a better like function, but we'll get around to it. Let's see. You know what? Let's do this. We'll do like a create func. Create minion. We'll just wrap all this. Easy enough. So minion name, some sort of string, and I'll give you back a kinematic body 2D. So we'll grab all of this. Minion name is just going to be that, and then we'll return. Easy. Oh, hello? What? Oh, it's a no 2D. Oh, it's fine. we do need to do this, which is new minion dot connect. What is it called? Minion selected. What did I call it? Minion selected. One of these to self, and then on minion select. There we go. Beautiful. We'll call it a node2d as well. So on minion selected, we'll do. We need to display some sort of information. Oh, we need to store information about each minion as well. Okay, so each minion needs to have a chat log that we'll eventually like purge at some point. Okay, so let's do this. Such chat. Then we also have var chat log, which is going to be, we'll call it a pool string array. And actually, we'll just do this. Pool string array. Yeah. And then we'll have var chat log pointer, basically. Chat log pointer, some sort of int that will set equal to 0. And then whenever you chat, we will add it to the log, and then also increment the pointer. And then once your pointer goes past a certain value, then we'll just circle back around to 0. So this will be like max chat logs. So just in case, in case you you're typing really fast, you're sending a lot of messages in chat, and I've also just had this open for like an extended amount of time, we won't Stack Overflow. I think it's unlikely, but it could happen. I don't know. It's unlikely. Keep it at 100, right? And so whenever you say something, say timer, boom, 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 and then we'll also store your stuff. Store log at the very end. So this is going to be, what do we want to do here? Chat log dot append message, right? Or no. So chat log pointer plus equals 1. And then if chat log pointer is greater than max chat logs, then chat log pointer equals 0. And then chat log pointer is equal to message. Can you do this with pool string arrays? I think you can. Yeah, otherwise do this. Otherwise just append it. Actually, no, you don't want to do this, right? Let me think. Resize to max chat logs. Okay, so yeah, we'll want to do this instead. So we resize the array, and then we just do this. Actually, we want to do this every single time. Look at this. Yeah, look at that. So chat log pointer plus equals 1. So we add 1 to the pointer, and then we do a check. So if it's greater than your max chat logs, then we reset your pointer to 0. Oh, I'm also realizing we should actually initialize this as -1. Otherwise, we always skip. We always skip 0 for whatever reason, but we don't want to do that. Yeah. So those are, yeah, so these are our logs. We start at -1, so we go to 0. Boom. So we skip this the first time, and then once we roll over the max amount of messages, we'll basically just restart. Yeah. So this is toggle GUI. This is really only used for when you click off. So here, unhandled inputs. If the GUI is visible, then toggle the GUI, or toggle it off basically. Minion selected. If GUI, if not, GUI is GUI visible, then GUI toggle GUI. Right, easy, and then we'll have to write some sort of other code to handle, you know. Let's see, like setting the data, right? So func update GUI using some sort of chat minion. So this is the minion. Call it a node2d, but it doesn't really matter. So let's see, what things do we want to display? Well, so we can keep a reference to the current minion, right? So current minion, which is some sort of node2d, right? So current minion is equal to minion, right? And then we'll also access all the requisite GUI stuff. So for log or chat log in minion dot chat logs, right? That's a property, so these are all strings. Yeah. So we have, let's see, we have the chat history, so let's grab this. I'm editing in 2 editors right now. We've gone completely off the rails. So onReady var. onReady var. So this is the chat history, which is a VBox container. One of these, and then we also have controls, but we don't really need to have controls per se. Well, we don't want to have just this control container by itself. We want the actual controls inside of it. So, yeah, that makes sense. Probably like 2 buttons. Well, while we're distracted, let's do, we can test a few things out, right? So boom. So this is not working, by the way. So I should be toggling it, but it's not. What if we do this? So just unhandled inputs. Or just regular input, but okay, so something now, some additional thing is now eating my input, so that's good. It's not GUI. I would like to do this. If GUI is visible, false. Actually, that's because this is it's because of this right now, actually. My bad. So unhandled input. I think this will work. Boom. Yeah, there we go. Then when you select a unit, it'll reappear. Yeah, that's the idea. So if GUI is visible. So let's start it as false, by the way. Toggle this off. There we go. So update GUI. So we do that. Then for child in chat history, get children. Then we'll do child.q3. Right. So we remove all the existing messages. Then we'll do var label, which is some sort of new label. Label.text is equal to chat log. Chat history dot call deferred and child. Label. And actually here we can hit it with a yield, so we'll do like a get tree just to make sure that everything is freed properly, right? Yeah. So we'll update the GUI whenever you do this. So minion. Wait, no, it's gonna be GUI dot update GUI with the whatever minion is sent here. So inside of the minion class, whenever it's selected, so on input events, boom, 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 we should also do this. We'll emit a signal, emit signal minion selected, send ourself along with it. There we go. And then also eat the input afterwards. So let's see. Minion selected. So this is auto hooked up via this piece of code here. Then whenever we receive minion selected, we'll 1, toggle the GUI if it's not visible, and then 2, we'll update the GUI with your chat messages. Hooray! Let's give it a try. So boom, didn't quite work. It's not quite toggling. I wonder, am I actually receiving the message? Am I receiving the message? Minion selected. I don't know. GUI. I don't know. Let's hit it with a print, just because it's easy. Hello. So we're not receiving a message. That's good. Oh, you know what? I know why. It's because I'm a big dummy. So I wrote this function, but I chose not to use it for whatever reason. Create minion. Hold on. Var new minion. Some sort of node 2D is equal to whatever this is. Yeah, with the username. Yeah. And then this does all the same stuff. Plus, it handles the connection for me. Yeah. Okay. Boom. Username. Username. So where do I get username from? Huh? Oh, it's set by the runner. I remember. Okay. Cool. So now this should work, right? Because now everything is hooked up properly. Now I'm actually using the function I took the time out of my day to write. Alrighty then. Invalid get index chat logs on base. What did I call it? Did I not call it chat log? Oh, chat log. Logs. Alright, so now we just need to go through chat logs, pointer, chat logs, chat log, pointer, chat logs, and then this is the chat logs pointer. Yeah. So as you can see, it's a lot of trial and error, but look at that. Shows up, goes away when we click off of it. It does eat your input though, which is unfortunate. then if I do like a test. Look at that. I think this might be really slow, by the way, but I think that's fine. And if I do more stuff, it doesn't update right away. I wonder if that's worth it or not. Hey, look at that. How neat. So yeah. So you can click off, nothing will show. You can click back on, and then there will be like buttons and whatever. Yeah. I wonder if it's worth. No, it's not worth it to attach timestamps. That's too fancy. Maybe in the future, but I'm not keeping an entire log of all your chat messages anyways. It's all transient, ephemeral, as you might say in the container space. So update GUI on minion selected. So let's see. Inside of the GUI, what do we want to do here? So inside the GUI, if the minion is equal to the current minion, then just update the chat history, I guess. Well, that's fine. It calls it every single time, but whatever. Let me just add a note. And expand. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now we just need to build out the buttons. Yeah, I mean that's it, right? So we just need to, one, update the chat history, and two, just display the GUI, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there we go. Now we need the controls. So this is just going to be a few buttons. So one, we'll add an HBox container with 2 buttons inside of it. So this will be called, oh no, size flags expand. And then this should also be expand. And then this should also be expand. They'll all just expand. It's a big button. He's a big lad. We'll give it a theme override as well. No, maybe not. We'll just keep the default theme. So we'll have a randomize. And guess what this button does? It randomizes. It randomizes your whatevers. And then randomize to, let me see. Let's also do a theme override really quick. So these should all be separated by 10, just because it looks better, in my opinion. So this one will be called, we'll call it Duckify. It turns into a duck. Or it will change your image into a duck if you aren't already a duck. So, huge buttons. And I guess there's also just other buttons, I suppose. What other buttons would I want to add? I don't know. I'm open to suggestions though. Let's see, on ready var randomize, which is some sort of, we'll call it randomize button, which is a button. Wow. On ready var, this is the Duckify button. Changes your sprite into a button, or changes your sprite into the duck sprite. Yeah. So let's do connections. So func on randomize. then func on duckify. Easy. You know, one of the problems of typing on these Cherry MX green switches is that I'm not used to having to mash the key this hard. And so the biggest thing that I keep missing is pressing anything that I need to press with my pinky. I usually just kind of like lightly tap with my pinky. I'm actually, I used to think I was a pretty heavy typer, but no, I'm actually a pretty soft typer. But the thing is, I like to rest my fingers on the keys pretty heavily. So it's kind of a weird conundrum that we find ourselves in. Actually, I don't need to store these at all. Yeah, so heavy-handed but a very soft typer. So like, I think I type pretty comfortably on Cherry MX Reds, which are the gaming switches, very light actuation force. However, I will accidentally like just press random things when I'm not intending to type. Which is a bit weird. So find node, randomize, connect, pressed, self on randomize. Wow. Find node. Pressed, and we'll connect it to our duckify function, and there we go. So if we have, let's always do a null check because we might not have. Actually, I think I can guarantee that we have a current minion. But you know what? Let's just null check it anyways. If current minion. Well, I don't know. Do we need to null check it? Yeah, you know what? Let's not null check it. I'm feeling spicy. Let's not null check it. But we do need to do this, which is create image texture. When do we do this? Chat. Oh, okay. So how am I selecting the image, by the way? How am I doing this? Possible sprites. Possible sprites. When do I set possible sprites? What the heck? Who wrote this? Alright. So this is, I'll change the name since we're going to make this a public function. Well, technically all functions are public, but it's just naming convention to do this. So create image texture. Then in the GUI, we'll do, what is it called? It's called minion. Let's go back here. So it's called minion sprites.texture. Okay. So we'll do get parents. We'll do currents minion dot sprite dot texture is equal to get parents. Do a blind get parents. Always good. Well, let's not do that just yet. We can store a reference to it. It's not bad. Var. Well, yeah, we'll just call it parent. Yeah. Which is chat minions is a node2d. So in ready, or we'll just onReady var it, right? OnReady var parents is equal to get parent. Nice. Then this is parents dot create image texture. Create image texture, and then what do you need? You need one of these possible sprites. Create image texture. Yeah, grab all of this. So this is parent, the possible sprites, and then parent, possible sprites. I should really wrap that up, but we're not going to do that just yet. You know what? Let's wrap it up now. I've decided we're wrapping it up. Yep. So, underscore this, make it private once again. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. And then we'll call it like create random image texture, which will give you an image texture. Who would have guessed? And then this just wraps all of this. Wow. Yeah, so it's just like a nicety. So this becomes a lot simpler. Create random image texture, pulls one at random, and then this one is also just random for now. Doesn't matter to me, which also allows me to replace this. Create random image texture. So randomize does that. Duckify, that's gonna be a bit harder, I should say. So let's see, friendly potato, no, this is friendly potato stream. So we can look in chat minions, assets, rubber duck. That's what it's called. It's just rubber duck. What happened? Okay, how strange. Func create rubber duck image texture, which gives you an image texture. So then we'll need to find the rubber duck name, because I don't store that, and I don't really feel like storing that. Probably should. Let's see. Let's see, while file name is none, if file name get extension is PNG, and the file name is not the default minion name, then possible sprites append this. Actually, why not just have the default minion name? Actually, no, I shouldn't, because the default minion name is there, so it doesn't completely break. I forgot. So let's see, if file name is equal to, well, hold on. If file name is equal to duck file name. How does he come up with all these names? Oh my god. Okay, so dun. Let's just grab all of this, rubber duck. Wow. So if file name is equal to rubber, did I spell it wrong? Duck file name. Rubber duck. Rubber duck. Is this? Actually. Let's see, rubber, yeah, then we should have var rubber duck path, which is some sort of string. Yeah. So we just grab this piece of code here, reuse it. How nice. So this is rubber duck path, right? And then here in our fancy whatever, we'll do create image texture. So we return the result of whatever this is, and this is going to be rubber duck path, right? Dun dun dun. Then current minion sprite texture is equal to parent create rubber duck image texture. Yeah, that should work probably. I don't know. Let's send it. Oh, it's so. This thing is huge. So we can randomize. Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Well, what's going on? Image load. Loaded resource as image file. This will not work on export. Said import the image. This does work though. Or am I just dumb and it was working? Oh, it does work. Haha. Also, by the way, this does work on export. So we can duckify. Boom. Look at that. Haha, it works. So that's cool. That's cool. So is this not the way to load an image at runtime, by the way? It's like Godot load image at runtime. Yeah, I've searched for this recently. Load texture from file and assign to texture. Yeah, this is how you're supposed to do it. Yeah, this will work. I don't know why you're giving me a warning. How do I suppress the warning? What warning is this? Don't know. Right, I know what warnings these are, right? Because the C++ error unused argument, blah, 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 who cares? But what is this one? Yeah, this one is just a raw error or a raw warning. How nice. I don't need your warnings. I know what I'm doing. Pretty much everything I write relies on loading stuff at runtime, but that's cool. Oh, you know what? Something that might be kind of fun. We go into the GUI here, we'll add another box. We'll call this one, I don't know, increase size, decrease size. Increase size. Decrease size. Make chunky. Make small. So small. And then chunky. Chungus. Alright, so let's actually connect these as well. This one's pretty easy to do. So the idea is that I will just scale up the model whenever I press that button. I don't know why. But the idea tickles me. So, func on make small. So let's see. I think this is pretty easy, right? So we'll just do like we'll do current minion scale. Scale is a vector 2, right? Yeah, scale is a vector 2. So we can do scale.x minus equals 0.1. And we'll do the same for the y. Actually, this should be plus and then plus. fancy. And then this one is make small, so I just do that. Yeah. Now we just need to do some find nodes. Find node, make chonky, then connect it to the appropriate methods. On make chinky. I can say that word because I'm Chinese. So let's see. Make small on make small. There we go. So check this out. We have our thing. Boom. And then we can throw him around. We can make him slightly bigger. It doesn't appear to be working. Maybe. I don't know. Is it working? We can randomize the thing, which is good. We can also turn it into a duck. But these buttons don't appear to work. Chonk. Is it working? Let's take a look. So we can go into here. Active minions. Team you win. And then we can look at the scale. Oh, yeah, the scale has not changed. Interesting. Huh. Did I connect it improperly? No. Current minion. I don't know. Let's try it one more time. So we can select it, right? This doesn't appear to do anything. Things appear to like actually be like you can kind of see it kind of freak out, but ha ha ha. Also, we're gonna do this. Mouse. Ignore the mouse. You'll ignore the mouse. Everyone ignores the mouse. Ignore. And of course the buttons will still work. Actually, should do this. So there's no focus. No focus. So you can just click on the button, but will not make the buttons tabbable, right? Yeah. Let's see, focus. There we go. Huh, but I'm not sure what's going on with this. I wonder if setting the scale is not really working. So what if we do... So it's not working how I thought it was gonna work. So let's go back into here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Var new scale is equal to, which is a vector 2, is equal to current minion dot scale, and then we'll just do new scale x minus equals 0.1. New scale dot y minus equals 0.1, and then of course we're gonna do this. Actually, we don't need to do this because this doesn't work anyways, so we'll just remove it entirely. New minion dot scale is equal to new scale. Wow. And so this is make big, so we'll hit it with the appropriate arithmetic operator. Chomp. See, it's not working. Can you not change the scale dynamically? So we go into remote. You can see this is the active whatever. That's the scale. That's your linear velocity. Yeah, your scale does not change. I can kind of see it's, it's freaking out. It doesn't change though. Let's just do this. Yeah, I get set back, huh? Let's see. Why can't I set the scale? I can set all this stuff, right? Current minion dot sprite dot scale. I know that will work. Sprite scale, right? Because I can also just modify the sprites just like that as well. It's not working. Oh, it looks a bit smaller. Oh, does it only work? Huh? See, look, it's getting bigger and smaller. But, why isn't it working all the time? Oh, it's because this one. Sprite. So. Sprite scale. Okay, so now this will just work, right? Boom. We'll grab you. We can make you really, really big. It doesn't really change your collision at all. But it's just kind of bizarre. Oh, don't do that. This one will do. Make. This is like reset scale, basically. Reset scale. Oh, and these are in the wrong order, by the way. Boom, boom, boom. Hello, hello. I don't usually see people stream Godot. Yeah, well, it's coming up in the world, you know. It's a bit niche. You know, I think a lot of people usually just stream. Well, I think there's a lot of reasons, right? One is that everyone knows Unity and it's easy to get started with Unity, so that's why you see a lot of Unity streamers. Game makers, I see a lot of game maker ones as well. I think game maker's a good tool. I think it's just, you know, first mover advantage. Godot's almost in the same space as game maker, I would say. Here's what you doing. I'm making one of these. It's similar to stream avatars, except mine is written in Godot and also is hooked into Twitch chat. So, well, you gotta wait for the connection to start up. So I think pub sub is loaded now. Hey, look. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, look at that. There you are on screen. Has your chat history. I don't know if I really want to keep chat history on there, but we have it for now. I haven't done any fancy stuff for stream because I don't stream. That's fair enough. Fair enough. I've been streaming for a little bit, but it's mostly just because, you know, I like to rubber duck solutions anyway, so it's like, I might as well just stream myself doing it. Maybe someone will get a kick out of it. And this is more of like it's just interesting to me, right? So we can do things like this, so we can make you really big. But it's just modifying your sprite scale because it's just easier that way. I'll redeem another reward, jump. This kind of lightly sends you. Yeah, exactly, chonk. We can reset your scale. I didn't hook up reset scale, so it doesn't work yet. Oh, you know what? You know what? That might be a fun channel point thing. Yeah, I might do some fancy stuff in the future, but I don't know. Hey, you got all the time in the world. Actually, I don't, but you know, I view it as kind of a learning experience, right? Is learning how to do, you know, kind of like fancy UIs like this. You kind of see I have like the scrolling text, and I believe the more things that you do and you figure out by yourself, the more kind of tools that you add to your toolbox. Also, why is the text flying through the screen when I say something? So it's supposed to be like a Bilibili or Nico style like comment system. So if you've ever been on one of those kind of like Asian video sites, like it's like Bilibili is Chinese, Nico is Japanese. It's like their version of YouTube, and so that's how they have comments scroll across the screen, which is kind of cool. And so that's I don't know, I just decided it'd be cool. I can turn those on and off at will, but you know, it's just a learning experience, you know. This piece of software, by the way, is open source. You can find it on my GitHub as Friendly Potato Stream. I should be working on my game for the Tri-Jam right now. I kind of want to chill in Twitch. Hey, well, maybe you'll learn something. Also, a lot of my code is open source, so if you're interested in anything like this one, probably is not useful for you, but I did write this. It's open source on GitHub, MIT license, face tracker, etc., etc. Supports the newest and hottest thing on YouTube as well, VTubers. I don't really have one I want to display on stream right now, though. Yeah, I don't know. What kind of game are you working on? Isn't the Tri-Jam is like the Unreal versus Unity versus Godot, right? Is that? Am I thinking of the right thing? Oh, that's cool. Also, the duck model is pretty epic. Thank you, thank you. Also, thank you for the follow. I just glanced on my actual stream monitor is on my left, and I've not been looking at it. Thank you. I think the duck model is like the second real 3D model I've ever made, and it's still the best model I've ever made as well. If only because it's pretty low poly. Alright, so let's hook up the GUI stuff. So we need to make small, make big. Also, Tri-Jam is a game jam where you make a game in 3 hours. Oh, okay. Sounds like you don't have a lot of time. Is that correct? You know, not to pressure you or anything, or not to say that you should turn off the stream, but it sounds like you have other things you should be doing. I don't know. I mean, is it going on right now? We can check. Tri-Jam. Oh no. I saw anime pop up and I was like, oh god. Trijam.itch.io. Is it going on right now? Submissions due. Oh, okay. In only 3 hours. So it's based on the honor system, right? Okay. I've already got all the mechanics right now. Oh baby. Yeah. I mean that's kind of why I like working on a lot of just random stuff. Is because the more random stuff I work on, the more kind of snippets of code I can reuse. Also, don't ask why the submission's due in 7 hours and you only make this game in 3 hours. I only have to make the levels right now. What kind of game are you making? I saw that the theme was Don't Drop It. Oh, you know, I just thought of a cool idea for Don't Drop It. Like if you were making like a music game, but it's like don't drop the bass, so just try to keep playing notes. That might be kind of fun. You can have that idea for free. Let's see. On reset scale. Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to tell me, right? I'm just gonna let you know that I'm not gonna steal your idea, because that would be rude. And also, I don't have 3 hours to work on something since I do need to wake up tomorrow for work. A speedrun platformer where you are a office worker and you have to avoid the wall so your cup of coffee doesn't fall. Oh baby. Okay. So like an auto runner then. So like almost like a Canabalt. I like to play those. Back when I was still in when I was much younger and played more games on my phone. Like Jetpack Joyride, that's an auto runner. Lots of fun. Did you learn Godot in uni or are you self-taught? I'm self-taught. I studied business in university. Studied business in university, went out into the world, became a consultant a tech consultant. You know, granted, one of my majors was business computer science, so it's like 3 programming courses. Like Java basics, databases, and then Java web apps, where you don't use any Java frameworks, you just use base J2E, which is crazy. No one does that in the real world, but I did teach myself Python way back in high school, Python 2 on Code Academy, and that's kind of the resource I direct most people to, is you know, if you want to learn how to program, it's not too hard. Just go on Code Academy, take their Python course, struggle through it, and there we go. Let's see, does this work? Pub sub ping. Okay, so we're good. But yeah, no, I don't have any formal game dev training. Mostly just kind of look at stuff. My idea is too bright. It'll probably attract bugs. Oh, I thought that was you, idiot, on TV. Dolly BR, hello. I didn't realize the colors look the same. What is yes it did? Did I say something? I'm mostly just rambling, like kind of on autopilot. Oh, hello. Hello, there is you. There is me. So we can randomize. Let's. You want to roll the dice and see if we can all get mushrooms? Oh, we're all mushrooms now. Hello. Look at this. We can make me a duck. No, like light attracts bugs. My idea is bright. Oh. I got. How are you doing today? Tonight, Dolly BR. It's Idion TV. I do appreciate the pun. It's both a pun and also it might be a bit literal, right? So if like your idea is too good or it's too bright, right? It's too smart. Smart solutions do tend to invite more bugs. So I get it. There's a lot of nested meaning in those words. We can make you slightly chonkier. Now, when you see these 2 big lads, small mushroom, how do you feel? Oh, you know what? What we can do is I'll go onto my stream monitor. Now I'm superior, possibly. The Clash of the Titans, for sure. Alright, I'm gonna add a new channel point reward really quick. So it's like make, I don't know. Well, actually, no, we can push it into custom commands, right? Yeah, good thing I have the custom command channel point reward. So let's close this and let's go into chat minions. So I guess we'll just have to like know what it's called, but we can do it. Chonkify. I tried to teach myself Godot, but I enjoy playing video games a little too much. Yeah, I feel you. Actually, I don't really feel you. I think I used to play a lot more video games, but I think after... No, there's only a few games I play nowadays. I don't know, because I just don't have enough time to really sit down and play through games anymore, right? I'm a busy man. And so working on stuff, at least working on games, I can kind of trick myself into believing I'm being productive. Alright, hold on. Custom command. And then the message, we'll need to do a match on that. So match message to lower. And then we'll do chonky or chonk. Yeah, I think that'll work. And then this one is small. I once named a variable run and made it so actually slower. I just wanted to do that. Yes, you wanted to sabotage your future self, so it would be very difficult for you to debug in the future. I'm very familiar with that. Let's see. Oh, you know what? We should do this. That's exactly. Yeah, you're programming on hard mode, basically. Shouldn't have programmed on opposite day. Yeah, totally be alright. I wholly recommend that you pick it back up. You'll teach yourself something, and then you'll also be making the games that you actually want to play, right? I usually work on an actual game when I stream, or actually that's not true. Sometimes I work on actual games, like my main game idea that I've been trying to work on for a while is it's a mix of an RPG and RTS. Almost like I think it's is it called Warhammer 2020, Warhammer 20k, what is it called? I forget. But basically it's like a RTS, but you command only like a small squad of like 4 to 6 people, and then you're fighting a horde of other creatures. So that's what I want to make a game like that, except with a more of an emphasis on the RPG aspect as opposed to the RTS aspect. He forgore. If message contains, isn't it? Contains case. Oh, is what is it? Ends with find. Find chunk. Then we'll do a thing. LF message find small. So if you have any of these words in your message, congratulations. How does find work? Does it just work on a string of characters? Oh, if find is greater than -1. Okay. I should not do find like that. I should do find if message find is greater than -1, or greater than -1, and then this one. We don't care about the actual index. We only care about let's see. We don't care about the index, we only care that it actually exists. So let's see. Well, we can do custom command GUI dot. Alright, let's go back to VS Code so we can check. We can cross compare. Let's see. You know what? He's made a mistake. Okay, so make small, make chunky. We'll make these, there's still connections, but we'll expose them, I guess. So GUI dot on make chunky. Right, and then GUI on make small. There we go. Oh, but now we have to do this. Let's see. That's actually a bit tough. That's actually a bit tough. Because I need to pass in the appropriate thing. The appropriate, what's the thing I'm thinking of? The appropriate user. Otherwise, it'll just, your command will just make the last user big, which doesn't really make a huge difference. Or it doesn't make a lot of sense. Cause yeah. So let's do this. Let's implement this. Punk make chonky. And then we need to pass in a username, which is some sort of string. Void return. And then this one will be make small. Similar story, username. We could just encapsulate this all in one function, but whatever. Alright, so GUI doesn't have access to it doesn't have access to the user. So let's see. On make chonky. Alright, so we can pass. What the heck was that? Oh, that was like oh, it was a truck. I heard like a really loud like wah, wah. Outside my window. One of the downsides to living in the middle of the city. Alright, so this is, call it minion, node 2D, and we'll just initialize it as null, not currently used. 2D is equal to null. Let's see. Yeah. I think we can make this a bit simpler as well. So let's see. Hold on. So current minion sprite scale x plus equals 0.1. Oh, 0.1. And then this will be y. I'm not really sure why I can't just change the entire scale, but there might be something else to it that I'm missing. It has a tendency to happen. I just miss really obvious information sometimes. AKA tunnel vision. It's a bad habit. Alright, so what if we do var minion to use? So if minion, then minion to use would equal minion. Easy, otherwise we'll use current minion. Something like that, right? And we'll do the same thing for both of these. Replace current minion with minion to use. And there we go. I think that should work, right? And then make chonky. So we're reusing these signals, where these function callbacks within this. We don't pass in any parameters, so that's fine. But this one we will. So we'll do on make chonky, and then we'll pass in not the username. We need to pass in the node. So this is minion. So just pass this in. That should be fine. And then similarly, we do the same thing for this. On make small. Pass in the minion. And there we go. Should work, probably. Oh, actually, we do need to then do a find. So existing, so active minions get node or null. So we have the user, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, okay. Just copy all of this over. Well, create. Alright, I gotta think about this, right? So I'm pretty sure I can encapsulate this. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to copy and paste this code twice, which I don't want to do because it feels bad. So let's see. Let's do get minion get new or existing minion, which is going to be takes a minion name and then returns to you the resulting thingy. Right, so we have all of this. So minion name. Boom, boom, boom. Hello. So if existing minion, then we'll do return existing minion. Easy. Otherwise, this one will be return new minion. Right. I think this makes sense. So get new or existing minion, or existing or new minion. That's probably is more. That makes more sense. Get existing or new minion. So this one. Oh, and then we need to do all of this. Dun, 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 dun. So also set the requisites spawning stuff if we have to create a new one, right? And then we can replace this piece of code here. Look at that. How neat. Actually, let's not replace it just yet like that. Let's do var minion is I kind of regret calling them minions. It sounds so weird now that because you know, minions are just an actual thing that people are into. So this just returns the minion, and then we should just do minion say. Yeah, okay. Boom, boom. Returns the minion, and then we just call say on that, because we can guarantee that we'll always be passing in something, or we can guarantee that it will always exist. Basically, actually, let's not delete it just yet. We'll just do this. Look at that function chaining though. Do this, boom, boom. Let's give it a try. What are you doing right now? Oh, I am refactoring stuff so that it's a bit cleaner. So it's just refactoring I guess this little stream avatar finding function. So refactoring it so it's actually inside of its own function instead of just repeating the same code 3 times. So here we go. Boom. So I believe we're connected. Twitch chat loaded. Yeah. Let's just test it really quick. Test. There we go. We can see it move across the screen. We can make it small. We can make it big. We can also pass in a custom command. Chonk. Will this work? I can't. I don't remember. Oh no. It broke. Non-existent function say in base. Oh, okay. Phenomenal. So what do we want to do then? Break stream overlay and cry. No, it's already broken. It's already broken. I think it did work, but it's just this function makes use of yields, which is a bit tough. Which can be, or it can be a bit tough. So let's see. I think we'll want to split this up. So we'll do var minion is equal to whatever this is. Add a type to it, because seeing things without types makes me a bit uncomfortable. So that's the yield. How do you yield on a on a yield? Yield. Wait, Wait, so this gives you a function state, right? GD script function state. How do I unyield from this? Calling yield within a function will cause a function to yield and return its current state as an object of this type. The yielding function can be resumed later by calling resume. Huh. If handed in arguments, I've yielded again. That's tough. I've actually never read Godot docs. It's just something I'm very used to doing. I just watch tutorials. Oof. I'm very bad at watching tutorials. I'd much rather just read the docs because I'm a very fast reader. Very, very fast reader. So, read a lot faster than I can listen. My listening comprehension, absolute trash. I think my hearing is actually really good considering that I've been through university. And as such, I've been to a lot of very loud house parties. So the fact that I still have more or less like the hearing of I don't know, like a smaller child is impressive. Like, you know, like the kind of like weird dog whistles that some people have. It's like, oh, if you're above the age of whatever, you can't hear this anymore. Which is true for like a surprising amount of people. Yeah, like I can still hear those, and it actually hurts my ears to listen to the really, really like super high-pitched noises, even if it's really quiet. All right, so we have a GD script function states, and then we need to resume it. I guess we'll resume. We'll just resume on it. Is this how this works? Minion dot say message. God, I won't be talking. I only have 30 minutes. Hey, that's fair. I won't blame you, or I don't blame you. Good luck. Good luck for sure. Hope you do well in the game jam. I'm just gonna be here just kind of poking around at this until I can get it to work. So we're loaded. Let's see if it works. Test. Okay, so we break. That's good. Invalid set index texture on base nil with value of type image texture. That's tough, man. That's tough. Okay. So like I need to yield a little bit. Like I need to like manually yield. I don't know. That's hard. That's hard. I wonder if I can find this. Like Godot yield yield ready nested function. Parent function yield wait until function's not continuing right when trying to do nested yields. Yes. What do you got? Placing my execute with what is this? What does this mean? Do event. Does this yield? Which one of these are yields? Executes. See events complete. I don't know. Let's think about this. So when we yield, it gives me a GD script function states. So what can I yield on this for? This is just nested yields upon nested yields. I hate it, dude. Let's see, object null, zoom function, it passed an object and a signal, execution is resumed, returns the arguments passed to emit signal. Yield returns the argument passed to emit signal. So it'll give you a GD script function state, but that's not really what I want. Let's see. Yielding on the function. The completed signal will be emitted automatically. Can I? Okay. Wait, so does that mean this will work? We'll just do, we'll yield on this. Completed. Something like that, and then it'll give me the result. Is this how this works? I think this is how this works. So we gotta wait for it to load in first. We gotta connect to Twitch chat. Oh baby, it works. Send it. Nice, okay, so that's how that works. That's so weird. You gotta yield just in case. Alright, what happens if I do this? Yeah, okay. Error connecting to signal completed during yield. So, like, that's my problem, is that I don't know if it's going to exist or not. Should I just yield? I just have a double yield, and this is just like a yield. Get tree. Idle frame. Like this is such a hack, but I want to say that this will work. I'm very disappointed in myself mostly. There must be a better way of doing it. See, like this will work. Boom. Right, but then I type in test. Yeah, ASDF. Yeah. See, it works. It's very strange, right? So I have a function that may or may not yield, but the problem is that if I yield on completed without this one here, I'll get a signal not found error. So it's kind of bizarre, Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can chonkify myself, by the way. Assuming direct control, chonk. I still don't understand code at all. If existing minion, where? If existing minion what? So, GD scripts is similar to Python, so you can, I think it's a falsy language. Is that? I think that's the correct terminology. So null is treated as false. So yeah, so it's like basically saying like if null, or no, if not null. So doing if existing minion is the same as doing if existing minion is not null. Right? It's the same thing. So everyone has their own opinions on how they want to do it. Yeah, I'm actually a fan of doing it this way now. I think I used to be against it, but now I'm like, it's so much less code. to write. Okay, so I think we need to do a we need to do a yield. It's just bizarre. So var minion is equal to also we can't pass in. Yeah. There's a few kind of strange things we need to do here. Yield on this. This is a hack, 100%, but it's it works. All right, so we'll do the same thing here. So that will work now. So previously it wasn't working because I was just passing in a function state. Let's see. So true, bestie. That's the only thing I think of when I see like so true. Oh, so true, bestie. I don't know where that's from. It's just like in my brain. I associate that with a sequence of words. Is that from like a TikTok or a Vine? I have no idea. I think this is good enough. There was something else I needed to change, but I can't remember. Oh no, it was adding this to do. Hacky workaround to sometimes yielding. Or for sometimes yielding. All right. I'm very sure it's from a TikTok. Yeah, probably. Because TikTok users usually say stupid stuff. Yeah. Well, you have to admit though, TikTok is a good idea. It's just horrible for I guess the end user. Right, because they farm so much data from you. Community sucks. Yeah, community sucks. And also, like the app is just, you know, it's kind of cancerous, right? Because it sucks up all your free time. Because that's the point, is that it's it makes you like addicted to it. So like it's probably like the worst. It's a really smart idea, but it's also like you shouldn't do this. You're sucking up everyone's free time. Alright, it's a test. Actually, we don't need this anymore, but yeah, so this works. Cool. Good to know. This doesn't work though, on make chonky. So we can actually pull in a few other variables. So we have like amount. I'm so happy with my movement. I'm happy that you're happy. I hope that's not like a controversial take. I keep playing it even though I don't add stuff. Well, that's a good sign though, right? Is that it's fun for the developer to play as well. I think whenever you've been working on a game for a long enough time, it's just no longer fun. And that's why you need to, whenever you're doing like a big game, you need to have play testers who aren't the developers play your game. Because of course, you as a developer have played the same thing over and over again. So if you are playing your own game and you still find it fun, I think it's a good sign. Alright, so this one will, I don't know, we'll just chonkify it by 1. Alright, you know what? Let's stop doing this. And let's do this. Hey. Yeah, create new minion. Alright, so I always create myself first. That just makes it a lot easier. It is. If it's fun for me, it means the game will be fun for other people. Hopefully. That's the idea. Sometimes hard to guarantee, but chonk, chonk, reset scale, small, reset scale. Let's see, custom command, chonk. Hey, it works. Big, chonk. It works. It's also a bit weird, because it only changes your sprite. It doesn't change the other parts of the thing. So if we open up the minion, yeah, there's the sprites, and then there's the collision shape that we can also scale up if we want. But probably a good idea not to mess with those in real time. All right, and then if it gets annoying, I can just do this, like reset scale. So big chonk. Let's see. Chonker. Does chonker work? It does. So okay, so if you just have chonk or anything in the name, it'll just work. So this is some text that talks about chonkers. It works. Cool. And look at that. Custom commands totally work. And then if you want to change, you know what? I can add that as a custom command too. So anything that's here, besides reset scale, I guess, we can do that. We can make it accessible via custom command, where I also just have rewards for it, I suppose. That's kind of cool though. Boing, boing, boing. That's cool. Make you a duck. It's so big. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of this, by the way. So we can do this for a few other things, right? So GUI has. Let's make small, make whatever, make randomize, or we can do. What is it? Just do it on randomize. So it's kind of the same idea every single time. Boom, boom, void. On randomize. And then we're gonna need to change this. So it's, takes one of these. So it's kind of the same thing every single time. But it makes it so it's a bit more, I guess, verbose? It's not verbose, what's the word? It is more verbose, but it's more resistant, fault resistant, and reusable. So on randomize. So we'll just pass in this thing, as long as it exists, which I can guarantee it will. So on duckify minion, no 2D, void, and then on, we'll call it internal on duckify, and then pass in this. Right, so custom command, and we can just do a bunch of the if statements. And you know what? If it's custom command, we can just do this as well. Var minion. So we have less repetition. Like so. Yeah, so I think running custom commands is gonna be slow, but that's fine. Since we do have to do like a lot of finds for certain words. Find duck is greater than -1, then GUI on duckify minion. And then if message find random. this, then we'll do GUI on randomize. Pass in the minion. There we go. And so those are the 4 kind of options that we'll have. And so this is actually a bit stronger than making these, or it's a bit more, flexible than just making a dedicated channel point reward for every single one of these, because now you just type in commands that kind of, you know, correspond to whatever. Chonk random. Oh, did it not randomize me? Or did it randomize me into a duck? Let's see. Chonk random. Yeah, I did roll a duck twice. So, and then you can type in, oh, this is cool. This is cool. So we can do chonk, small, and of course it does run. Oh no. Wait, you're a duck? No way. Well, actually, I'm just like a person at this point. But see, this command won't work since I just do a kind of naive match. So I only match once. Look at that. It works. So you can type in multiple commands if you want, but there's really only like 2 options. You can make yourself bigger, you can make yourself smaller, and then you can either randomize yourself or you can request that you become a duck by doing duck. Oh no! What happened? Invalid gets sprites on base nil. Hey? What happened? We broke. On Duckify minion. So what do we have? We should have a minion. Huh? And then here, current minion. Oh, I forgot to change this. It should be minion to use. Yeah, okay. I broke it. It's a top tier recreation of an office. Alright. I'm gonna trust that you're not posting something absolutely vile. We're gonna click on it. Oh, nice. Very good. I like the art assets. I think it's pretty good for something that was done in 3 hours. Yeah, I like the cup of coffee. I can see that. Wait, so is it your coffee is getting cold? Question mark. What is that? How does it get cold? Is it just like timer based? Yeah, so we can turn ourselves into a duck. How nice. I wonder if it... Trying to get to the top of the building to see your boss, that's all? Okay, I gotcha. And you're holding a cup of coffee. And don't drop it. Okay. So you're like a intern who's getting the coffee. I see, I see. He's figured it out. He's beginning to believe. Yeah. A better idea is to just bring the coffee to the boss. Okay, well, either way, I get it. Jump. You know what? I can also add one more thing, which is to like force you to jump. So I think that's an explicit command just here. Is it jump? Yeah. You know, yeah, we can make it a jump if you want to jump as well, I guess. If message find jump. So you can do many things all at once. so this is the dun dun dun. Oh no. Okay, hold on. It broke. That will work? Yeah, okay. So we can do private function, make minions, jump, void return, send it. Here we go. So we can make this slightly more generic, like that, and like this. Yeah. You know, I've never had to, well, I guess I've never been in a position where like my only job was to get the coffee. Although I think I would feel pretty bad about my job. Although, you know, currently, like right now, I work as a consultant for a big tech company, you know. So you have sales who do the implementation, engineering who builds the products, and then consulting that does the, you know, post sales, aka implement the software. So if they said like, hey Tim, your job is to bring us the coffee, I'm like, all right, sure. As long as I get that on paper, I don't really care. You can do what you want. You know, if you want to pay me how much you're paying me right now to bring you coffee, that sounds like a dream come true. Jumpy, chonky. Look at that. So if you kind of know what you want, you can type in just a bunch of words and then do all that stuff. He's going to pay you $10 million and promote you to manager if you bring him a coffee. Just the best. Oh, baby. Duck. Well, you do have to redeem the channel point reward, right? Or you gotta have me just do it for you. Duck. Yeah, there we go. Now you're a duck. You can also type in just chonky or chonk or small, just any sequence of characters, since I just do a blind, you know, does the string contain the text? So, how neat. Can make me really big as well. Very chonk. Yeah. You can randomize, you can do all kinds of stuff. Look at that. It doesn't really push your model up properly though. I think I should probably fix that. I need to think about that. 10 seconds. Oh baby. I believe in you. You can do it. Let's see. Minion, what do you have? Or what unready vars do I have access to? So there's the sprites. If I was able to... Oh, you know what? I'm probably not able to increase the scale because of these things here. The labels, maybe. I'm just kind of spitballing at this point. I don't really know. Okay, it was actually 3 minutes totally. I believe you. I won't report you. Not yet. Okay. Well, I think this is neat. I think I'm going to... We'll call this done. Well, this is good enough for whatever I was thinking, right? So git add all. Hit it with a git commit. So add UI to chat minions. Implement some chat commands. Git push. And as always, this code is available on my GitHub. You can find a link to that in the description. The name of this repo is called Friendly Potato Stream. And yeah, I believe this is the only Godot, I guess not really plugin, but this stuff is here. So there is an existing library for Twitch integration, Twitch chat integration, but I think this is the only one that does channel points integrations. So very cool. So we can do some fun stuff. Let's open up my stream stuff. Not on stream though. On my other monitors that you can't see. And let's add a new channel point reward. Let's see, channel point reward. Let's add a new custom reward. Call it duck. Quack, quack. Cost is, how much does this cost? How much does jumping cost? 98s. Let's make this 97. No, let's make this 99. Skiff, reward, request queue. Yep. Now let's make this like a yellow. Yeah, create. There we go. Yeah, and so we go back to here. Run it one more time. I suppose I should try to export it. But look at that. We have the new duck channel point reward. Duck. Oh, okay, hold on. I see. I forgot to do something. So I do need to explicitly handle, like, the super whatever. The actual reward name. So we'll call this duck. It's already lowercased, so we'll do GUI on duckify. Wait, no. We need to do, grab one of these, then GUI on duckify minion, like that. Right? So that'll work. Now we just gotta wait for it to load in. Twitch chat loaded, pub sub loaded. There we go. It does take a little bit for the call and response to work. Yeah, there we go. So if you want to turn into a duck, you can. Or you know what? We should probably just make this like randomized, right? Not duckify. Let's get rid of this. Randomize avatar. Randomize minion. Yeah, so duck, I think duckify will be, I guess, a hidden command. You'll just have to know. If you know, you know. Randomize minion. Yeah, there we go. Let's not make it yellow anymore, because now I'm just reminded of minions every single time. Let's make it like a lightish blue, kind of like a dirty blue. Big fan. Yeah, so this is a randomized minion. These are your minions. Makes it easy. Randomized minion, it's in the same spot. So boom, 99. Oh. Oh wow, now I have 48 hours to do my game. Wow, no, what do you mean? Totally real. Wait. I'm not sure what you're meaning. What you mean? So I'm just gonna yeet. I yeet. Send you. Send you. Send them. We can make you very small. Okay, cool. So pretty much everything that needs to be implemented is implemented. Now it's just like adding things if I want, right? So reset scale. This needs to be mouse. Yep. Focus. None. There we go. Get status. Let's see where we're at. Looks about right. Git commit add all. Add randomize channel point reward. Git push. Stream just went burr. I don't know if it's only for me. OBS is saying I have 0 dropped frames, so I think it might be you. Possible it was me. I don't know. Content streaming is weird, man. Hard to say. Anyways, I'm overtime, so thanks for tuning in. I'll be live on Tuesday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Working on something else for sure. Probably not this anymore. And yeah. Peep the socials, join the Discord, follow me on GitHub and give myself stars, I don't know. And yeah. I stream Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, and then on Wednesdays from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah. I will see you later. Goodbye.